All right. Hello and welcome. Let me get settled here. So yeah, in case Susie sees that. But yeah, hello and welcome to the Daily Space for today, February 19th, 2020. I am your host, Annie Wilson. Most of Mondays through Fridays, our team will be here putting science into your brain. And yeah, it's a Wednesday, and Wednesdays are usually for Rocket Roundup, and today is no different. Let's get to it, shall we? Our first launch of the week was a Northrop Grumman Antares rocket with the CRS NG-13 on February 15th, 2020 at 8:21 p.m. UTC. This was a routine resupply mission to the ISS packed full of science, supplies, and hardware. And the image that you see on screen is a Northrop. It is a Cygnus being captured using the space station's Canada arm, and it is of this Cygnus. So there you go. Okay. After two previous launch attempts were scrubbed, one due to a ground equipment fault and another due to high... Words are hard. Anyways, after two previous launch attempts were scrubbed, one due to a ground equipment fault and another due to high upper level winds, aka weather, Saturday afternoon finally saw the successful launch of the resupply mission with almost 3,400 kilograms. For Americans, that's 1,700 2-liter soda bottles of cargo, experiments, and supplies. Both the rocket and the spacecraft were built by a subsidiary of Northrop Grumman, formerly known as Orbital ATK, and in a tradition dating back to that company, the spacecraft was given a special name to commemorate this mission. In this case, the craft was named the SS Robert H. Lawrence Jr. in honor of the first African American accepted into NASA's astronaut program. He was accepted into the astronaut corps in 1967, but later died that same year in an aircraft training accident. Of note, this mission contains a Ka-band antenna which will allow the Columbus module of the ISS to communicate via a network designed and implemented by the European Space Agency called the European Data Relay System. This system uses two ESA-built satellites launched into geostationary orbit in 2016 and 2019, which downlinked to a ground station in Harwell, England. The Ka-band links will allow much faster throughput for ESA scientists and will take some pressure off of NASA's overburdened tracking and data relay satellite system. Also on board is a miniaturized scanning electron microscope built by Voxa, a Seattle area company. The goal is to test the performance of miniaturized devices which can allow a similar level of investigation into the structure and composition of materials without having to wait the weeks or months currently needed to send those materials back to the labs on Earth for processing. The device will be installed aboard JAXA's Kibo module of the ISS. Vox's CEO, Christopher Owen, says the device costs a modest $65,000, but believes this could be reduced if testing is successful and mass production becomes commonplace. By comparison, scanning electron microscopes in ground-based labs typically run closer to $1 million. Dubbed Mochii in honor of the Japanese dessert, NASA hopes the device will be usable by the station's inhabitants as well as by operators on the ground. Meanwhile, Voxa hopes the device will become widely used both on Earth and in space. Owen said, quote, "When we came up with the concept, we thought, what about the dessert mochi? It's small, cute, and absolutely delicious. Everyone will want one. End quote. Other items of interest include 3 experimental small sats for the U.S. government research agencies DARPA and Ames, a fresh supply of fruits and veggies for the ISS crew, and a number of biological experiments. So, before I play this clip, or actually, series of clips, oh boy. NASA live streams are usually pretty dry, straightforward, and professional. Not a whole lot of character, but it's completely non-offensive and it gets the job done. This launch was different. We were able to get a peek behind the curtain to the real flubs that happen behind the scenes. We're talking open mics, a call made to an out-of-order Verizon number, and the 3D animation just going nuts. So, because these are part of the launch sequence stuff, I'm going to play them in order of how they happen. So I'll play the open mic fail, then the launch, the Verizon fail, and then the start of the animation fail. So as a reminder, rocket launches are loud. I will try to remind you again when it's closer to time for the rocket launch, because that won't be the first thing I play, but oh boy, we just have to relive this. It was great, y'all. All right, so of course I have it queued up to the launch, but that's not what we're going to listen to first.
390 will not be required. Step 391 will not be required.
There.
How do you turn it on speaker?
That was the open mic.
ACS VDMs enabled, voltage nominal, ODM commands clear.
Copy that, elect 1. We'll check 392 and 393. We have a hot mic on countdown 1.
There. So this is the official countdown.
Oh, okay.
This is what Daniel's
LC
logged
ups
into.
to BRG activated.
He said if you turn that
Copy
one
ops
off
2. Hot mic on countdown 1.
and publicly, this is the internal control panel. No.
LC ups to VZD closed.
LC site control GN2 conditioning initiated.
Copy that, site control. We'll check 394 and
All right, so
93.
it continues.
NMH1.
We're going to skip ahead.
Status.
So launch. So watch your ears.
LCMES 1.
We've got about 40 seconds.
T-minus 30 seconds. Mark.
"20 seconds till liftoff."
T-minus 10. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We have engine start. Liftoff and Perry's NG-13 mission for Wallops Flight Facility. Engines at 100%. Attitude nominal. TVC's nominal. Core pressures are nominal. Engine chamber pressures are nominal. Attitude nominal. Power subsystem nominal. Altitude 10,000 feet. Attitude nominal. Core system performance nominal.
All right, now I'm going to skip ahead.
Engine and TVC systems nominal. Velocity 1,100 feet per second. Attitude continues nominal. Rough roughly 15 seconds to payload separation.
Welcome to
Attitude nominal,
Verizon
heading
Wireless.
into
The
separation
wireless
event.
customer you called is not available at this time. Please try your call again later. Announcement 1, switch 170-3.
We have payload separation.
Welcome to Verizon.
And spacecraft separation confirmed.
Called is not available at this time. Please try your call again later. Announcement 1,
Beginning with
switch
CCAM maneuver.
170-3.
Just wait, it gets better. So now we're going to skip ahead. So everything seems normal, and then this happens. I don't know why this happens, but they eventually are just like, screw it, we're cutting to the launch
Cygnus is
pad.
now on its way to the International Space Station, where it will arrive in 3 days on Tuesday, February 18th. I'm still joined on console here by Chad Davis of Northrop Grumman.
So yeah, that happened. Oh boy. Oh boy. I had to relive that with all of you. It's just... They handled it like professionals, and they just, other than calling out the open mic, they didn't acknowledge any of that often. Or they didn't, no, not often. They didn't acknowledge any of the fails at all, but you know somebody got yelled at. You know somebody had to talk into. All right. Okay. On to the next launch. On to the next launch. Okay. Next up was a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket launching another 60 Starlink satellites on February 17th, 2020 at 3:05 p.m. UTC. For those of you keeping track at home, SpaceX has now launched 180 satellites in the first 2 months of this year. This time around, none of these satellites had the experimental darkening treatment. SpaceX had previously announced the results of that experiment. SpaceX had previously announced that the results of that particular experiment would not be available until the end of this month. When I know the results, I'll share them with you. Right now, I know nothing. Okay. This is a screen grab from the stream. And this was the 80th successful flight and was supposed to be the 50th successful recovery of the first stage, but that milestone will have to wait for the next recovery attempt. It was not a good day for recovery for SpaceX. The first stage made a soft landing in the water next to Of Course I Still Love You, and both Go Ms. Tree and Go Ms. Chief missed the fairings. I really don't have a whole lot to say about the Starlink satellites because, well, it's Starlink. SpaceX seems to be aiming for a 2-week turnaround between launches, which just feels exhausting. And the last I looked, I couldn't find a reason why the first stage didn't hit the target, because they're really, really good about that. But I do know that they are trying to recover as much as they can from the rocket. So, ready for the launch video? Let's do this. All right. Oops. This is from the landing.
Earth
this
in
is
the
not
back.
the launch. Let me fix this. That's still not the launch.
That you can see right there.
All right. Now it gives us 30 seconds. Watch your ears.
T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition, liftoff.
Rocket 9's pitching downrange. Phase 1 propulsion is nominal.
power and telemetry nominal.
It is T plus 47 seconds, and we have just had liftoff of our Falcon 9 vehicle, taking our Starlink payload to its targeted orbit. In about...
Up a little too far. So here's where it's supposed to touch down. And to
Landing legs are deployed.
right of the barge, you'll see this splash of water. It kind of looks like a bit of a fog even. That's from it coming down. That's from the water at the surface being moved around by the rockets.
Impact shutdown.
That's just the edge of it, and here it is getting...
Okay, we were
Safe,
expecting...
2 FTS is safe.
We were expecting the call out for landing, and we obviously didn't see it there on the drone ship, so let's look back at stage 2.
All right, so yeah, it made a soft landing in the water, but not on the barge. Okay, last launch of the week is, or the last launch of the week was rather, an Arianespace Ariane 5 with the JC-Sat-17 and GeoCompSat 2 Bravo on February 18th, 2020 at 10:18 p.m. UTC. And here are some pictures of everything before, just before launch and at launch. I thought the purple sky was pretty. I don't know if was added in post, but I thought it was pretty. And yeah, on to the good stuff. So the images on the screen on the left is JC-Sat-17 and on the right is GeoCompSat 2 Bravo. And both of these were on board. So let's talk about JC-17 first. JC-Sat-17 first, excuse me. Built by Lockheed Martin, this communications satellite will operate in geosynchronous orbit and maintain position above the 136-degree east longitude line just east of Japan. It's owned by Tokyo-based SkyPerfect JSat and will provide communications in a variety of radio frequency bands, primarily to a number of other commercial telecommunication companies, which will then provide services in Japan and the East Pacific region. The satellite was by far the more massive of the two launched, coming in at just under 5,900 kilograms Americans. That's 2,952 2-liter soda bottles, and sports a unique 18-meter wire mesh antenna for S-band communications. The satellite will use chemical bipropellant thrusters to reach GEO altitude and to maintain its position and orientation while in that orbit. It carries enough fuel to continue operation for more than 21 years, although the satellite is stated to have a planned 15-year mission lifetime. All right, GeoCompSat 2 Bravo is the smaller of the two satellites and is an Earth observation satellite built by Korea Aerospace Research Institute. It has a mass of a bit less than 3,400 kilograms Americans, that's 1,700 2-liter soda bottles, and will operate in GEO at 128.2 degrees east longitude and will monitor ocean data throughout the Asia-Pacific region. Like JC-Sat-17, it uses chemical thrusters to maintain its attitude and orientation and is planned to operate for at least the next 10 years. This satellite includes a spectrometer built by Bell Aerospace, which is being built as the first air quality sensor to operate in geostationary orbit and will take hourly measurements of air pollution, including ozone and nitrogen dioxide, in order to improve early warnings for potentially dangerous pollution events. According to a statement by South Korea's Vice Minister of Science and Information and Communications Technology, quote, "We believe that GeoCompSat 2 Bravo will be an invaluable asset serving various environmental issues of humankind, especially addressing particulate matter in East Asia. The air and ocean environmental data from GeoCompSat 2 Bravo is expected to significantly help many people with breathing concerns and minimize the damage from marine disasters, end quote. The satellite is meant to work side by side with GEO COMPSAT-2 Alpha, which was launched aboard an Ariane 5 back in 2018. While 2 Bravo is specifically focused on oceans and air quality monitoring, Tube Alpha is a dedicated weather satellite, much like the GOES satellites are for North America. And this is the rocket launch. And it didn't quite get the thing, so hold on.
1 minute. Enjoy the launch.
Nope, too far.
Cut away now. We wish you a wonderful launch, and we'll be back with you in just over 1 minute. Enjoy the launch.
À tous de DDO, attention pour le décompte final. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, top! Allumage moteur Vulcain. Allumage EAP et décollage VA 252.
Not sure how much you'll be able to see. Oh, there we go.
Propulsion nominale.
Alright, I'm going to go ahead and stop it there. And as a bonus treat for you, of course this is just going to panic and freak out, this is the video. This is the video for the COMPSAT-2 Bravo. yeah, I couldn't resist not showing this to you all because it was just too good. It was too good. I know it was long, but it was very informative, and I wish there were more videos like this on satellites. Okay, to wrap things up, here is a running tally of a few spaceflight statistics for the year. So far, we've had 1 toilet burn up. We have 226 new satellites in orbit. A total... no. I have my numbers backwards. Anyways, we have 240 new satellites in orbit. 226 of those are from rockets. And wait, no, I have audio. Okay. And I keep track of orbital launches by where they were launched from. So here's that breakdown. There's been 14 total launches so far this year. 5 have been from the US. 3 have been from China. 2 have been from French Guiana. 1 from New Zealand. 1 from Japan. 1 from... oh, why can't I pronounce this? Kazakhstan? I will one day put pronunciation notes in here. 1 from Kazakhstan. And 1 from Iran. And the Iran launch was a failure. And your useless space fact for the week, and I forgot who shared this one with me, I am so sorry, is that Mercury is so close to the sun that its orbit is weird without relativity to help explain why it is the way it is. Kazakhstan. Ha! Kazakhstan. I feel like I need to write that down. I'm going to write that down now. Kazakhstan. Thank you. Kazakhstan. I will write my pronunciation in my notes later. So, that is all the news I have for you. So, let me put the dog down. Go ahead and type your questions if you haven't already. Ugh. While I turn on dog cam and give you a chance to ask all the questions you haven't asked yet, I'm going to take a moment to remind you that this is a production of PSI, that's Planetary Science Institute. Turn on dogs. Well, there's the dogs. Okay. So, scroll all the way up. All the way up. YouTube admin asks, is Virgin still working on air launch? I don't know. The truth is that rocket launches are dead to me until they happen. So if a rocket launch isn't happening within the next week or so, I'm usually totally oblivious to it. Oh, and there was something about switching to the backup crew for the next group going out. And Guido says it's that medical reasons were cited for using the backup crew. What are they... Hanny's asked about the electron, or about the microscope, Mochii. What are they gonna look at for testing? I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. It might be things that have been created in microgravity environment, like growing crystals, tissue cultures, things of that nature, grown on the ISS. So rather than sending them down for analysis, they can capture images of them using Mochii and send the data back down instead of sending the whole sample back down, because maybe samples have a rough time with re-entry. And Veronica asks about the Northrop Grumman launch from Wallops. Why didn't they acknowledge the crazy? It's probably like when you're a performer and you make a mistake. I'm just going to appease them with Cheerios. It's probably like when you're a performer and you make a mistake that you just keep going with it. You pretend it doesn't happen. You know it happens. You're thrown off by it, but you just keep rolling because sometimes mistakes aren't noticeable. All of these mistakes are noticeable. If you were just listening to the launch, you wouldn't have caught the animation fail. And cutting directly to the pad and cutting all the audio and going, I think they went in and talked with a guest, was probably the best thing to do. Because the people that were producing the media for the launch have no control over who's on that party line with an open mic. They don't have control over the animation failing. All they have control over is what they show us. So I imagine that they're just like, let's roll with it. We can't do anything about it. Let's just roll with it. And that's actually pretty admirable. I'm sure they were flustered, but they didn't show it. And this is why they're professionals. I mean, we thought it was awesome. I thought it was great that we were able to see more of a human side, but that's not what they want to show the world. So I'm sure somebody got an earful. Miss Town wonders how much damage the first stage took in the soft landing. I don't know. There was some talk about that. I literally did not have time to poke at that. Things happen, and I'm sure there's a lot of things out there on the internet, and I would rather just wait to get some sort of official word than go through rumors and hearsay and that nature. I want to make sure that what I present to you is accurate. So I might not have the answer right away because sometimes it takes a little while to get that answer. Trillian says maybe turn the landing pad into a giant net on the barge. Most times they hit it, but it falls over or falls off. There's actually a website I've been using to keep track of recovery stuff, and it's, see if I can share it. It is spacexfleet.com. And there's drone ship data, and they have fairing data, because I know somebody will always ask about the fairings. So that's why if SpaceX doesn't say anything about it, I make sure I go back and I use this resource to see what was caught. And I appreciate this resource existing because it makes my life so much easier. Hanny's asked, does SpaceX have a way to make sure people are safe on unconventional landings? I heard they will be launching people soon. When people come back down, they come down in the capsule. And I can't remember if the Dragon capsule is meant to do water landings or land landings. With both, there's actually this airbag that comes out from underneath. And obviously for a land landing, that would cushion the impact a little bit. And for water landings, there's this whole setup, and the Boeing capsule and SpaceX, and I think it's called the Orion capsule. All of those have to be compatible with this sea recovery stuff. So, yeah. I don't remember which way it's coming in for. It either, when you come in and you hit the water at that velocity, it's going to hurt. But the water has more give than most land areas do. So I don't know. YouTube admin makes a comment about preferring measurements in washing machines. Here's why I convert to soda bottles. Most of the world uses metric. There are a total of 2 countries that do not use metric. I understand that some countries mix metric and non-metric. I know Kenya does a weird mixture. I think the UK still does kind of a weird mixture, like using stone for weight. And a lot of countries mix, but the US uses not metric for everything. But for whatever reason, we sell our milk in gallons, or portions of a gallon, and we sell our soda in liters. And 1 liter of water, which is soda, is really mostly water. There's some coloring and flavoring, and if you're in the US, corn syrup added. 1 liter of water weighs 1 kilogram. Most Americans know what a liter or 2 liter soda bottle is. So converting from, kilograms to 2 liter soda bottles is my way of being like, look, this is what a kilogram is. Well, actually 2 kilograms. And I prefer explaining metric with metric because it helps cement the metric measurements in people that aren't familiar using metric. Washing machines aren't uniform. Like, washing machines are generally all the same size, but a 2 liter soda bottle is a 2 liter soda bottle. It doesn't matter if you're here, if you're in the US, or if you're in, I don't know if I've ever seen a 2 liter soda bottle in China, but anyways, China understands metric. But yeah, most Americans, almost all Americans, understand what a 2 liter soda bottle is and how much it weighs. That's my explanation. And I know some of you are like, I feel embarrassed, but no, it's just a teaching aid. This is the best way I can do it. So, and by the way, I live in an area that says pop, but I'm weird and I say soda. I am totally weird and say soda. And yes, Star Strider, that Korean video is like Kerbal, but for reals. There were a lot of comments during the live stream, and I'm like, if I find this video, I'm playing it again for Rocket Roundup. It is amazing. It is amazing. Larry Weird was asking, is this early warning for North Korean launches? No, this is essentially air quality detection and ocean monitoring. So, backwards 266 new toilets in orbit? No. YouTube is asking, what about Russia? Kazakhstan, I looked at my pronunciation notes. Kazakhstan is not a part of Russia, so I am identifying it as Kazakhstan and not Russia. Just like, because there's many different ways to track orbital launches. You can do the rocket's country of origin, which means some Arianespace rockets would count as Russian launches. You can do it from company, which means one of those Kazakhstan launches would be under Arianespace, and anything from New Zealand would be under USA. So I'm just gonna go by spaceport because, yeah, at the end of the year I'll probably break it down even further because yes, I have a spreadsheet of this going with the spaceport, with the who launched it, and things of that nature. So we'll get to that. And yeah. Raj Luthra asks, has SpaceX solved their issue with Starlinks affecting astronomers yet? No. No, they have not. We won't have the results from that darkening treatment until the end of the month. So I promise you all, when I know something, I will tell you. Right now, I know nothing. It will be a while. I will tell you when I know. I will probably tweet it as soon as I know. Yeah. Hello, Emperor. And Oh, that's cool. Raj says a UK-made high-speed communications antenna was on the Cygnus cargo freighter, now on the ISS. So yeah. Oh, thank you. Everybody, the community is awesome and is like, no, Crew Dragon will water land, and it's airbags on Starliner for landing on land. There's a lot to keep track of, y'all. And NASA is having them test the expletive out of their parachute system after they added another chute, adds DPI. Be nice to see the Dragon landing on the landing barge. See how good your navigation systems are then. Oof. And yes, Trekker Kev points out, as long as measuring 2x4s are not correct in either measuring system. That's right, they are not, and that is so frustrating. There's like... They're not 2 inches by 4 inches. They're not. The length, though, the length is good. The length is usually around the length they say they are. Bad Panda Bear says, maybe we should start switching to measuring in Lego blocks. Lego blocks are small, though. And I don't know what size they are in metric units. What about SI units? The International System of Units. I'm trying... Metric is considered SI, so I am trying to stay with, you know, the SI units. I also realized that unlike most Americans, I've had a whole lot of exposure to the metric system thanks to studying chemistry at a higher level in university. By higher level, I just mean in university. Pro tip: don't try to double major in chemistry and computer science at the same time. Do something reasonable like computer science and math. Computer science and statistics. Don't. Also, I was not the greatest chemist. YouTube asks, what is the reason for the New Zealand launches? I don't remember. I know they have really nice long launch windows. They got permission to build there. I don't know why they launched from New Zealand. I really don't. Hanny's asked, when will Electron's US launch site open? Soon. Trademark. I think it's at Wallops. I think that's at Wallops. One Lego unit is 1.6 millimeters. That's, yeah. Just measure in mega and tera Legos. That's a lot. YouTube says, I'm going to double major in computer science and aerospace. Might do it different. I would suggest doing it different times. And yes, chemistry requires labs. Computer science also requires lab time, but you don't need a lab coat and goggles, and if you accidentally let something sit in a bit of acid for too long, it's okay. Because there is no acid to worry about in computer science labs. Oh, yeah, it is at Mars. Beauty is measured in millihelens. I mean, if he's talking like a 1x1, do I have any Legos handy? I don't know if I have any Legos handy. And make it rain! Thank you, Wayne. I don't know if I have any Legos handy. I'm looking. Are there Legos in here? Oh, there is a Lego in here. So it's a 1x1 circular tile. And I don't think this is a centimeter. I think this is closer to a millimeter. I could see this being closer to 2 millimeters. So I don't know how it is. But yeah, science uses SI when you're an American. In science, in university, you learn SI units, and unless you're an engineer, I hate foot-pounds. I had a math class that insisted on using foot-pounds, and I was like, no. No, I'm not using foot-pounds. Neither of these things make sense to me. I thought phosphoric acid was essential for computer programming. Coca-Cola, says the Gem Doctor. Yes, I would say caffeine more so than phosphoric acid. And I would say that depending on the computer lab, I would definitely say caffeine is essential. In the computer lab, you weren't really allowed to have food in there, so we had to go eat in the hallway. There's this place. No. There's a sandwich place. I can't remember the name. But it was on campus and they would deliver, right? So I would have them deliver food to me in the hallway of the computer science department. Be like, this is where I am. I am in this building outside of this door on this floor. They brought me my food. They brought me my food. No, it wasn't Potbelly sandwiches. It was a sandwich place, though. I have zero shame in doing that. And because it's usually college kids that were working there, they knew where I was talking about. Lego units are based on the thickness of the side, 1.6 millimeters. Everything else is a multiple of that. Okay. Oh, so we're not talking like... Oh my. Because I don't know if... I don't have any blocks. All I have is that one tile. So, Wayne Johnson says another measure... that's weird, is measuring in hands. That's done for at least horses and ponies. 25 millimeters equals 1 inch. No. No. Just no. Raj says, in the UK, we learn both metric and SI units in science classes. In mathematics, it is the metric system and UK system, but mostly we use metric and SI. Soul stealing his attempt is off target. Yeah, I've moved the camera. She's trying. And make it rain! But she was doing it. So we give her that. All right. That was the beeping, because I know you all can hear that beeping. That is the beeping that tells me it is almost 2 p.m. where I am. I think I've answered everybody's questions, if I haven't, and now is the time to speak up. I need to record this version for, reasons for the podcast. Dr. Pamela is saying, do not go over, or do not go anywhere. She's going to take over, because yes, she is. She is going to do a ninja stream of coding. If you want to help out with the code, go to our Discord, say something in volunteers reporting for duty, and actually no, here's the correct order. You go to the Discord, you agree to the rules, then you go to volunteers reporting for duty, say something there, and we'll get you hooked up. It is best if you know, PHP and are familiar doing an Apache SQL and something stack. I feel like I'm missing PHP stack. So, LAMP stack. Yes, thank you. I'm like, all I can think is XAMPP. But yeah, it's best if you're familiar with a LAMP stack. Yeah, and don't hate life. Linux, Apache, MySQL, Maria, DB, PHP. Yes. So if you're on a Mac, you're in luck. If you're on Windows, good luck. This is why I have not been coding. I am not set up on the MacBook. All right. I don't see any other questions. So I'm going to get ready to wrap things up. YouTube's like, I got a WAMP stack working. I got so many other things to do, y'all. I got so many other things to do. Oh, Heather Cooper, broadcaster and astronomer, dies at 70. That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. Okay, so all the things I need to say. Move that to where I can see it. So, hi, Econ Greg. Bye, Econ Greg. I have been your host, Annie Wilson. Our script today was written by myself and Dave Bogard. The Daily Space is produced by Susie Murph. Our fearless leader is Dr. Pamela Gay, who will be right back here as soon as I'm done doing code. And we are... As always, we are interrupted by my dogs, Tinker and Puck. We are here thanks to you, all of you, so thank you for all of your support. This has been a product of the Planetary Science Institute, a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to exploring our solar system and beyond. And, yeah, thank you. So wherever you are in the world, have a wonderful insert time of day here, and I will see you all soon. Bye! But stay here to watch code. Okay.